Welcome to the very first video of this YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Lenny, I'm Italian, and I'll introduce myself later in the video. And if you do know me, thank you for supporting me in this new adventure. In this video, we're going to set up the second half of the year in my Archer & Olive. As you could see, my old journal was also from Archer & Olive, and I have to say that this one is one of my all-time favorite brands because the quality is immaculate, it's beautiful, and the team is the most lovely in the world. And once again, I'm incredibly grateful for this gift. This notebook is in the size A5 and it has a black linen cover and this beautifully embossed snake. It also has two bookmarks and one of them has this super pretty pendant with the Archer & Olive logo. This is the Neapolitan notebook, which has 3 different kinds of paper. But now it's time to plan. I'm taking my old journal to consult the migration page that I made to note down which of my old spreads I needed to migrate in the new journal, which ones I don't need anymore, and some ideas for some new spreads. First things first, which is super difficult for me to pronounce, let's write down my name, and then I usually glue these 2 pages because I don't like the way they don't open up. We're just gonna start the journal with a quote because it's a tradition, and since the situation of the world was as bad as it is now actually, in July, which is the date I filmed this video, the quote that I chose says, "Dear 2020, my current goal for the rest of this year is now just to survive. Can we sort this out? Please." It's not the best, but I think it's a pretty funny quote and I'm so proud of this. I'm so proud of thinking about this. And I have to say that we have managed to do it and we're in November, so let's keep our finger crossed for December. Right after this quote page, I made my future log, which some people in this community call a date book when you use this layout. And this one is my 5th journal, and I think this layout is absolutely the best for me because it's simple, it's kinda minimal but cute, and it gives me a lot of space to note any appointments or important dates in general. As you can see, I'm making the title with a really light grey Tombow dual brush pen because I wanna make a watercolor header, but I'm going to leave it this way for now and I'm gonna use watercolor at the end of the setup. I'm also highlighting the Sundays and writing down the numbers of the week with the small tip of the same Tombow brush pen that I used for the title, and all of the items that I used are gonna be linked in the description of the video. And now let's head over to a spread that I absolutely loved in my previous journal, so now I'm just going to replicate it. I did the titles in the same style, I used the same washi tapes and I painted the same leaves decoration. The only things that are changed are the titles of the second page, and I have to say that I love doing this kind of titles with a lettering part and a really simple part. I outlined the decoration, and once again I'm gonna use the watercolor at the end of the setup. In the meantime, I will answer the question that is already in your brain, and yes, this voiceover is sped up because I want to be as clear as possible, and a good pronunciation takes a lot of effort for me because 1, I'm Italian, and 2, I have a bit of stigmatism, which means my S doesn't sound very good, so I hope it's not a problem for you. The next spread is a very common one, but I think that I've never seen anyone using this layout, which I came out with this January, and once again I'm replicating it, just changing the title and the decoration. This spread is for me to note down any book, movie or TV show that friends or internet suggest me to watch, see or read. But instead of creating boxes, I decided to color code everything, so I will never be out of space in a box or finish the journal with some of the box completely full and an empty one because my mind cannot stand these things. For example, I immediately know that the orange lines are for TV shows, the yellow ones are for books, and the pink ones are for movies, and I can just keep adding things. With this layout, I can make sure to have everything clean and tidy. The next spread is a period tracker, and yes, you guessed, once again I'm replicating the spread of the last year, not only for the consistency but also because I'm going to fill the missing days in this journal and at the end of the year in the previous journal too, even if unfortunately I didn't manage to include the quotes that I used in my other journal, but I highly suggest you to pause the video and go read it. My camera suddenly stopped working at this point, I don't know why, but what I did was making the title with the letter stamps, and I wrote down the numbers of the day in pencil, so at the end of the year I can erase them and just mark with a big dot the days that I'm on my period. Going on, these 2 pages are gonna be 2 secret spreads, which means that I'm gonna keep them closed with a pin, since I'd love to show off my bullet journal with my friends, but I'm not going to show people these 2 spreads in particular. The first one I'm doing on the right page is a weight loss tracker, and it's gonna be a simple table list with the weeks, the days I did exercise, even a little bit, the days when I was on diet, and my weight at the end of that week. Before you say anything, don't worry, I don't obsess about losing weight, but it's something that I wanna do, even if I really couldn't do it in the last month because, you know, pandemic and shit. And the other spread is called We Should Take a Coffee Sometimes, and it's just for me to write down the names of the people that I don't see anymore as often as I used to. And you know that you say, yes, we're gonna arrange something during these days, but when you actually have free time, you always end up going out with your usual friend group. I mean, I shouldn't need a list, but that's the reason why this page is gonna be closed and not out for my friends to look at. The spread that I'm setting up now is the list of the books that I read in 2020. I'm not gonna write again the books that I've read in the first half of the year, but I'm gonna use the same color code, and for decorate the page I use this photo that I printed with the paper thermal print, and I didn't show you the process because I actually had this picture printed since April and I was just keeping it because, I mean, I keep everything can come in handy, as in this case. I used these oranges to make the title and some doodles, and as you saw I also used a piece of paper from an old dictionary and a piece of floral tape that you already saw me using during this setup. For the second page of the spread, I'm gonna do an online order tracker, which is a simple yet primary spread for me because I order things on websites that are overseas and the shipping time is often so long that I truly forget what and if I even did the order. Finally, I took my watercolors and now I'm gonna decorate this spread and all the other spreads that I left incomplete before. Once again, I'm replicating the spread that I made in the previous journal, but this time I'm not gonna use a teal watercolor background, but an earthy orange one to match the book list next to it. But to make it a bit different from the original one, I decided to not use the monoline cursive, but to go with the letter stamps, and I love the effect next to the old dictionary page. I think these 2 pages together look pretty vintage and super cute. And now I'm just going back and I'm going to make the titles and the decorations just as the previous journal. I know I am boring, but I just loved how these spreads looked in the other journal and I couldn't resist to make them similar, yet I think a bit better because I had more experience and I perfectly knew what I didn't like about this in my previous journal. So I don't have much to say right now and I'm just gonna leave you with some music for a bit. Now that I'm done decorating with watercolors, I'm just gonna transfer the post-it that I always keep in the very first part of my journal because they always come in handy. And that's it, guys. My second half of the 2020 is set up. This video was filmed in July and it's November, so my procrastination won over my intentions once again. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video, or if you'd like me to go more specific about what products I use or what techniques or anything else. Just let me know in the comments. I'm just starting now and I can't wait to hear your thought about this. Thanks for staying and see you next time.